Hello, I'm Jessie and I'm gonna show you some stuff that I am making and that I've recently made. And I'm standing up awkwardly because I'm gonna start by showing you something that is large, so I had to move my chair. I think I neglected to talk about this in my very first episode back in August, but this is a very old, this project is, I think, in its it's in its fourth year now. I started this in 2023. This is the Wildabon. It's an applique quilt pattern by Carolyn Friedlander. And what I've basically been doing is I started with the big red flower in the middle, and then I did this pink one down here at the bottom, and then I did the blue one, and then I've basically been adding in all of these other little bits and bobs. And you can see these are applique that I've already finished, and these are applique that I have yet to finish that I've only basted. And basically what I've been doing is I have been adding some shapes and colors here and there so that, and basically I didn't want to do all of the cutting and basting at one time. I didn't want it to be that in progress. If you know anything about applique, like you just don't want to have all of your raw bits sitting in a bag for potentially 4 years like this project. And so I basically just added almost in segments. Like you can see this is my most recent segment where I've gone back to add in some bits. So these are all new and I've basted them and they're not cut yet. I don't cut them until I'm about to sew them. For example, these over here, I put them on and I baste them in their full shape, just with a little bit of lines to tell me where to cut them. And then I cut them when I'm about to applique them, unless they're different colors, of course. But if they're the same color, I don't cut them until I'm ready to sew them. And so I think it looks really, really cool. Obviously you can tell the lines, you know, because these aren't done yet, they don't have the cool kind of pop of graphic lines, I should say, between them. And the way she has you design this, actually, or the way she designed it, is that there's actually a little bit of surface texture that gets added when you do the quilting here. And so once I'm done with appliquing it, I will eventually quilt it, and it will eventually be a wall hanging, possibly to replace this one. This one used to hang in my office at work, and now it hangs in my office here at home. But I think it's really, really fun, and I'm in the home stretch. There's really only one section down at the bottom here, below the red flower, where you can see I haven't added anything yet. So I would say that I'm probably 80% of the way through with the applique, and that is very exciting. So that is Wildabon, and that is my first work in progress and my oldest work in progress. Staying with sewing and quilting for just a minute, I have another whip that I showed on my first episode, and at that point it was just a couple of blocks that I had cut out and sewn together from my granny patch quilt. And actually I tried to record an episode for you guys in December and showed some pictures or had some footage of those blocks, and I had done a few more of them. And actually watching the footage back, I didn't release it, but I'll probably put some here. But watching that footage back, I was really excited about the blocks and seeing them. And so I got really inspired over the break, and I finished the quilt top. And then I went ahead and ordered fabric to baste the back of it. And I haven't done any quilting of it yet, but it's at least basted, and I'm gonna try to show it to you here. And I will probably also pop in some photos of it on the ground, since that will help you get a better sense of the scale of it. So I'll move my chair again. Here is my granny patch quilt. Oh yeah, you can barely see any of it. Is it chaotic if I back up really quickly? If I just back you up, then you can see more of the quilt. This is a really fun quilt pattern by Lo and Behold Stitchery. And I started this with fabric that I got last Christmas, so Christmas of 2024, and cut out all my fabric, and then basically she has a really cool, ingenious process for like chain piecing these things so that you can not be literally sewing one block to one block to one block, because it's a lot of squares. And this is the backing fabric, which is my favorite. It's Essex yarn dyed linen. It gets softer and softer and is like both warm and cooling, if you know what I mean. I use it on many of my quilts, and wool batting, of course. But this was a really, really fun process. And once I actually got into a flow state of like memorizing how the pattern worked when it was in its smaller blocks, I just worked on this a lot over the Christmas break and was able to get the top finished and get it basted. And so now I just have some pins in it, and I need to get to my sewing machine and actually quilt it up. Yeah, this is the granny patch quilt, and I love it. I love the way it turned out. I think it's a really cute, very accurate homage to crochet through quilting. Okay, before I put the camera back, I will just show you my most recent finished object, which is what I'm wearing. And it is the step-by-step cardigan, which I did as a little knit along with two of my work colleagues. And I used Barrett Wool Co., their woolen spun worsted. I can't remember the color, but it's like a really nice, it might actually be, I think it's called Coal. And it's a little bit more brown than I initially would have wanted. I wanted it to be more gray, but I think it reads really well. Like, it reads more of a gray than perhaps it looks to my eye. But I made it nice and cropped. I actually think I made it exactly the length that she called for. And it was my first time doing a double knit button band, which I loved, even though I made one mistake, because I always do, if I'm picking up stitches for a neckband, I always do 5 out of every 7 stitches, because I know that my gauge in ripping is loose. But I didn't realize until I picked them all up that this was actually double knit and not a regular ribbed neckband. And so it was a smidge snug. I should have just literally done every stitch like she said. But that's a case where too much knowledge bit me in the butt. But I went ahead and made it work because I was able to sort of tug it a lot when I blocked it. In true Jessie fashion, I have the button holes, but I have not put buttons on it yet. And I don't know if I will, because I really love my cardigans just open and kind of slouchy. And I love the fit of this. It's really cute and so cozy, but so lightweight. I also made my pants. They're the Montreal collection. I will put the information down below, but they're really cute, fun, stretchy, jogger style, plateau joggers. They're called the plateau joggers. So yeah, this is my cute little outfit, and it's actually a little bit snowy here today in Atlanta, weirdly. So it's perfect for this day, and I've really been enjoying like a bigger open sleeve, and so that's how I made these. I did, I think I did the appropriate amount of decreases that she calls for in the pattern. I don't think I made any modifications to this really at all, except not picking up all the stitches that she said to in the neck for the neckband. So yeah, the step-by-step cardigan, also, you know, of course, famous for its handy YouTube video. I did use her video for the buttonholes on the collar on the neckband. So, okay, I'm gonna go sit in my chair. Okay, I'm in my chair, and I am gonna try not to get too warm. I feel like I've already gotten warm by standing up and showing you 3 projects, but I suppose we've moved into the knitting section of the podcast since I've showed you my cardigan. Okay, back in August when I did my first episode, I was, I think, partway through this Night Lights Shawl, and it's also one of my recent finishes. I finished it in January. I have a habit of finishing a lot of projects that I cast on the previous year in like January of the subsequent year. And this is one of them. So this is the Night Lights Shawl, and I believe I may have told you this last time, but I'm using, the main color is all hand spun that I spun last year in 2025 with my electric eel wheel spinner. And it's fiber that I sourced on a trip to North Carolina that we visited Asheville, and so it's from a North Carolina farm. And I paired it with a skein of Big Sky by Spin Cycle Yarns. And so it starts out really nice and like almost no contrast. And then it's this pretty little rainbow. And then when I ran out of the spin cycle, I switched to more of my own hand spun. So this is, actually really love seeing it on the back as well. I think it has really cool texture. And then this is also some hand spun as well. This is from my little mystery club I did last year. That was Keira Wiggins mystery club. So I got a little 50-gram bat every month. And this one was one of my favorites. It was called Tricks Are for Kids, and I spun it like immediately when it arrived, and then I put it in this shawl. So I actually really love this pattern. This is by Andrew Mowry, I should say. The Night Lights Shawl she released last year, and it's a really, really awesome construction. Like, it is such a wearable shawl. It's not too big because it's so wide and narrow. It's extremely wearable. I've already been putting it with my jacket. It's actually been cold here in January in Georgia, and so I've been putting it with my jacket pretty much as soon as it was done being blocked. It blocked out really nicely. I thought it looked I wasn't sure how it was gonna turn out before I blocked it because the I-cord was really rolling in a lot, and I didn't feel like the stitches, like the really cool kind of pattern that it creates, I didn't feel like I was seeing that as much before I blocked it. I felt it looked really kind of sloppy. So if you are making this and you are worried about that, maybe do a swatch and see if it blocks out really nicely. I guess in true shawl fashion, I just went for it, but it ended up coming out, I think, really, really nicely. And I love the pattern. Unlike her Through Lines shawl, which she also released in 2025, and I tried that one and I could not memorize the stitch pattern or the pattern repeat, the row repeat, and there were so many unintuitive steps to me that it just really hurt my brain, and I didn't like the way it was coming out. And so I am pro Night Lights Shawl, and I am anti Through Lines Shawl. They both have the same shape. If you manage to figure out the Through Lines Shawl and you have a tip, I would love to have it because I do have that pattern. But this is the Night Lights, and I really, really love it. Probably I'll put in a photo here of me wearing it in a different light, but it's really fun and extra special because it's mostly my hand spun. Okay, the next thing I have for you is also a knitting work in progress, and this is also a project that you saw last time on my first episode. This is my yarn management. Okay, this is my Flores sweater, and Flores was incredibly addictive to knit. And then, as you may remember from my first episode, I ordered more yarn and it looks very different. So that is 2 dye lots for you. Don't do what I do, don't be like me. So I was really, really panicked about this sweater, which I talked about on my last episode. But essentially, as you can tell, I kept going. I think I had only just maybe was to here the last time. So more things I did that are chaotic. I split the hem. I wanted a split hem and not just a round hem. But then I realized that the hem is like broken, or like where you, what is that called? Where you knit through the back loop and you purl through the back loop, and it's 2 by 1. And so what that meant was, this is the back of my sweater, y'all, and I had to do purl 2 through the back loop, knit 1 through the back loop on every wrong side row. And it's like several inches of ribbing, and I wanted to murder people and myself for that decision. So if I had just kept the hem and not split it, every row would have been a right side row, and I would have just been doing mostly knitting, but I was doing mostly purling, and it was killing me. So I actually went rogue and I just didn't even do the twisted rib. Twisted rib, that's what it's called. I didn't even do twisted rib on the front. I just did 1 by 1 ribbing. And then I blocked the whole thing without sleeves because I wanted to make sure that it wasn't gonna look too chaotic with regular ribbing on the front and twisted ribbing on the back. I don't think it does. I like the way it fits, and I like the way it blocked out. The fabric blocked out beautifully. So you can actually tell that the sleeve I've been working on has not been blocked because it looks like a mess compared to this lovely fabric over here, but it will eventually look beautiful when I block both sleeves. So I am actually all the way to the ribbing. I need to start the ribbing. That's why it's just hanging out on these needles here. But I have gone ahead and picked up the stitches for the other final sleeve, and then I will be done with this sweater. Now, to resolve the color issue, I decided that I'm probably just going to drop this in some sort of nice color remover pot because I want it to be a light sweater. I'd rather it be like cream and colorless more than like darkening the color, making it darker. And then I also think darkening the color, you'd still see, I mean, these two colors are so different, they're gonna take the color differently. So I think I'd rather just remove some color. Weirdly, when I put it on, you don't really see the stripe, as opposed to how well you see it on the camera and to the naked eye. But I think removing the color will be a way around that. So we'll see. Once I block it with the sleeves and try it on, like maybe I will think differently and I will decide not to remove color, but that right now that's where I'm leaning, and that's how I'm going to salvage this. The yarn is Manos del Uruguay Fino, and it's beautiful yarn, and that's why I started a sweater in it, because I thought it'd be really nice to have a sweater in this yarn. And it's so beautiful. It has I think it has silk in it, so it's really, really drapey. It's extremely lightweight. It's so good for my climate. I want to wear this sweater. That's why I made it. That's why I am powering through. I think I said last time, but I didn't do quite as deep a yoke as she calls for in the pattern. She kind of has you go even deeper into your armpit. Mine is just like a nice fitting raglan. I tried it on and stopped where I wanted. But other than that, I've really followed the pattern to a T, and the stitch pattern is incredibly lovely and very fun. It's just interesting enough with those occasional pearls in there. So this was a very fun project despite my own, I was my own worst enemy with this project. And despite the fact that I even made the ribbing, which is already challenging ribbing, more challenging by deciding to knit it flat. Literally the only problems I have with the sweater are things I did to myself. So that's Flores, and I love it and I can't wait to wear it. Okay, the next project I have is, I think it was in the very, very early stages when I first recorded in August, and this is the Sophie shawl that I am doing with my sisters-in-law. We're doing it as a little knit along, and mine is just beige, but I love it. So this is almost halfway of my shawl. So it's not the scarf, it's not the very skinny one, it's a little bit bigger. This yarn, you can see I'm almost to the end of one ball, and then once I'm to the midpoint, I will start decreasing with the second ball of yarn. I'm holding two together of a fingering weight wool by Snug and Spun, which is yarn that I received from my friend who designed her label. And so she had bought some yarn in some colors that I got to pick so that she could take photographs of them as, you know, a proud brand designer. And then I got to use the yarn, and it has silk in it. I had the ball band and then I threw it. It has silk in it, so it's really, really beautiful. It is 85% merino and 15% mulberry silk. And so I thought that it would be the most perfect neutral shawl that would really get a lot of wear. And I think you can kind of see like there's a little bit of like gray beige in there that is really very pretty. And it's super drapey. I am excited to wear it on my neck. And I just plug away on this when I'm in between hard steps of projects or want something mindless for the TV. And now that I finished my night shift, that's not what it's called, Night Lights. Now that I've finished my Night Lights shawl, I think this is my only shawl that I'm working on. And so I think it will get more time with me. It will get more airtime because I would love to wear it and it's so cute. All right, I have 2 more knitting whips to show you. And one of them is in the same purchase. Oh, here she goes. One of them I had started over the summer, but I just didn't, I think I forgot to include it on my last episode, I don't know. And good news, I haven't done anything on it since then. But summer is coming, so maybe now I will. This is the start of a camisole number 9 for my aforementioned friend who designed the brand, the logo redesign for Snug and Spun. So this is also some Snug and Spun. Gosh, I don't know the colorway, but I will put it in the notes. So this, you can see I just started on the body. So I've attached the front and the back to each other, did like 3 rows, and then lost steam into fall and winter when I was working on less summery projects. And so really at this stage, you can tell all I have to do is just knit the body for many, 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 many inches, and then go back and add in the sleeve cuff, you know, and the collar. So give it some stability at the top parts. And it's intended to be like sort of a muscle fit, a little bit like what I'm wearing. That is the camisole number 9. And then my last knitting whip is something that I kind of cast on a whim in the fall, and it's using yarn that I took out of a previous project and reused. I have unknit a previous, I would think I had a very V sweater, very V raglan, a Jessie made pattern, and I loved the pattern, but I didn't have enough yarn, and it was yarn from a Canadian dyer who stopped dyeing yarn, and I don't know what overtook me, but I had to make so many accommodations to the sweater to get through it with the 3 balls of DK weight. I'm an insane person. 3 balls of DK weight yarn that I had, and so it didn't work out. It was so short, it like barely came below my boobs, and I was like, oh, that's cute, it'll be a cropped sweater. It was not cute, and I had to use tons of ribbing on with a wholly second color. Maybe I'll try to put a picture of it. I used like gray tweed for the ribbing for sleeves because I didn't have enough fabric, and I don't like that much ribbing on my sleeves, and so then I wasn't wearing it because it was both too short and didn't have sleeves that I liked. And so I undid the sweater and I decided to do stripes so I could have enough. So this was the original yarn that I had unknit of the Very V, and this is an Aros sweater by Petite Knits. And I cast this on because I saw another YouTube video where someone had made this, and it had really great shaping in the neck because it's almost like a modified saddle shoulder and then turns into a raglan. And so the shaping looked really, really good to me and very appealing for a raglan shape. And so I wanted to try that out, and I liked the sort of wide stripes nature of the pattern. So obviously this will be a little bit, the neckline will be smaller once there is a neck band on it, but you can see I have split for the sleeves and I am now on the body, and I'm using the contrast stripes are just 2 additional skeins of DK weight wool from Republica Unicornia, and they're 2 like one-of-a-kind grouchy unicorns that I picked up at her once a year in-person shop in her driveway sale that she does. And so this is really, really fun. I mean, it's a DK weight raglan sweater, so really what's not to love? The shaping at the top is great. The stripes are really fun. Obviously stripes keep you going, keep you motivated to get to the next set. And so I predict that I can have this done if I really commit to it pretty quickly. Obviously, I'm really trying to finish Flores, and that's why I've set this down for a while. I sort of recommitted to my frustrating fingering weight sweater, frustrating because of me. I'm really glad this yarn is getting a renovation, getting better use, and it's actually quite green, but it's like a green gray, and it's showing up, it reads so gray compared to these brighter greens. So yeah, that's Aros, and that's my last knitting whip. Okay, I think the only other thing that I want to show you today is actually a sewing project, but it's a garment sewing project. And that is my in progress Falconer Pants by Helen's Closet. I bought this pattern right when it came out, I think in 2025, and then I didn't have any like bottom weight fabric around, and it was right when Joann's was closing, and I was kind of panicking. And fabric has been, I mean, garment fabric right now is tough, y'all. It's very expensive. So I asked my mom, hey, if you're at Joann's, can you grab me a cute bottom weight? I want to make like a muslin or a wearable muslin of these Falconer pants. Because they have a fitted waistband, they're not elastic in any way, and they have a zipper fly. I really wanted to do, like, take the time to do a muslin and make them work and make some modifications for my fit. So I have added to the rise and the length, I'm tall, of both of these. And well, I should say, what she decided to buy me was, in her words, a White Lotus inspired bottom weight kind of light canvas. And so I'm just going with it because I do think this is definitely, I mean, this camel color is definitely my colors. So if I feel like wearing some sort of tropical inspired pants, this is my wearable muslin. I thought that the pattern had a great instruction for the zipper fly. I think it's one of the best experiences of a zipper fly I've had while sewing. And then I tried it on, so the only thing that's left to do technically is the waistband with the belt loops, really just attaching the waistband. So it should not take me that long, but technically, literally the full pants right now, all of the seams around the whole garment, the side panels, the back panels, and the front panels are all just basted together. They're not finished in any way so that I could try it on. Oh, and then just like the hem, which is very cute. So I'm sorry I don't have a picture of me wearing these, but I did try them on and I really like the fit. Because I added to the rise, I think they're even more a smidge high-waisted than they even already are, which I love. And I think what I'll do, I think I'm pretty okay with my fit here. And since it's a snowy weekend, I'm gonna take in the back a little bit, but I think everything else, I'm just gonna go back and take out the basting stitches and finish up those seams. And then have myself a festive pair of Falconer pants. They have a really fun side panel you can't really see in this pattern, but the pockets and the side panel, so there's like a front seam line and a back seam line. But I can't wait to make these in sort of a standard color as well. I think they're super, super wearable. I think they would make really great jeans if you wanted to sew them in denim, and maybe I'll even sew them in denim because I really enjoyed the construction. And jeans, like jeans patterns kind of scare me. So, but this was really fun, and I'm excited to have some Falconer pants in my life very soon. Okay, I lied. I have one more thing I want to show you, and that is my current spin. So I am halfway through. I have spun exactly half of this bat of wool, which I also got last year at the Republica Unicornia, like, I don't want to call it a yard sale, but like her spring studio sale. That's what she calls it. I picked up this, which I surely don't know. How convenient. It's literally here. This is the colorway Starshine, and it's Targhee spinning fiber. It's 100 grams. So I really liked that it was sort of this mostly white or mostly cream with some of these bits of teal and pink, which are colors that I really love. A little bit of yellow And you can see it's coming quite nicely here on the bobbin. I think it will end up being a really fun, neutral based, but with color yarn when it's done. And it's gonna be a 2-ply, so this is literally half. And I did that thing where I split it literally down the bat when I first got it, down the braid, and then re-braided it so that it would be, so I know literally where to start here with my second, so that they'll be, when I apply them together, they'll hopefully roughly match up in terms of color. Spinning is fairly new for me in general, so I've never done this before. I'm usually just someone who's either gonna do like a 3-ply so that I get nice fading, or just throw caution to the wind, or put 2 colors together and make like a barber pole. So this is my first time doing whatever this is called, where you're splitting it and actually trying to kind of match the colors. But I really love, like, look at those kind of teal, like that right there. It's really fun. So this has been extremely fun to spin, and maybe also what I'll work on this weekend while it's cold. So that is all I have to show. I do want to give a brief little quick shout out to what this is right here. This is month 1 of the Terrafonin Block Studies Collective class, which is a 6-month class that I'm in. And in true form, I did the first month, which was this little cute block, and you know, you're supposed to experiment with color and shape in each of the blocks. And then I had really good intentions to do November, and really good intentions to do December, and really good intentions to do January. Maybe February will actually be my month, and I will get back at it. And the January block is so cute, and I do actually want to do it. It's called, I think it's called Shattered, and it's a special guest design block by Jen Carlton Bailey. And I do really actually want to do it. And I have some fabric right here that's from the class I ordered. This is month 2, and then I didn't do month 2. So then I was like, oh, I'll use it for month 3. And now it's maybe gonna get used as month 4. So that's what this little stack of fat quarters is. And yeah, so I could finish some Falconer Pants this weekend. Maybe I'll do some spinning, and perhaps I'll work on this little block studies block and have more of these to eventually show you in the future. So this was a really fun play in color and shape, and I hope to do more of that. There are 2 more months of the 6-month class, so I think there's still time for me to, you know, have some fun and engage in the community. I've been going to the little Zoom meetings, but that's it so far. I haven't been doing a lot of sewing. Feeling inspired by others, but not sewing on this myself. So thank you for spending time with me today. I hope that while you were watching, you got to work on something fun and cozy. And I hope to see you again next time.